All right, so this is a time of returning home. This is a time when we either return home consciously or unconsciously. Humanity, nature, our planet needs as many of us to be willing to return home consciously. Returning home in the sense of returning home to ourselves, of opening the door, having a sort of open house policy where we don't peek through the peephole to see which part of ourselves is showing up, wanting to be acknowledged and integrated. No, rather we have an open door policy for every aspect and part of ourselves. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of humility, and tons of surrender. It's hard. There's just no two ways about it. But what is the choice, really? What is the choice that we continue on our trajectory of really just total devaluation of ourselves, of the earth, of every one of God's precious creatures, and destruction? No. There is another way. So what's the first step to really valuing who you are? What's the first step to having that open door policy? I think it can be simple. Sometimes the most simple act is also the most profoundly deepening act. Between each breath is a little pause. In that pause is where God is found. In that pause, that slack tide, that moment where there is no effort, there is just being. Perhaps just starting there, an instantaneous pause, and acknowledging your divinity in that pause, acknowledging God's essence within you, nature's essence. I don't care what you call it, it's just life and love. Every cell of our being is made up of that on every level. Starting with a pause. Starting with a smile. That's always a good place to shift energy. Starting with gratitude. These are things that seem so simple, right? And so basic, I guess. But they, if practiced, will begin to shift you into a more conscious way of moving through your day. We have been trained to be so disconnected and distracted. With every bit of that distraction and disconnection, we have become more and more powerless. And that's not meaning power, like brute force power, push people up against the wall power. No, it's a deeply rooted knowledge, acceptance, and appreciation of spirit embodied uniquely in each one of us. So take a breath, hold, go out to the water where I am right now. Between the incoming tide and the outgoing tide, there is slack tide where everything is held in totality before movement. That same energy is present right before dawn and at dusk. When the night has not given way to the day, neither has the day encroached upon the night. That is where all possibility and potentiality, that is where all divinity can be felt, and you can sit in that place. I think that that is a good place to start. So let's practice that. Becoming more conscious and present. Getting a little closer to having that open door policy. I'm just noticing my crazy eyes. Ugh. That's a good place to start, not the crazy eyes, the conscious thing. Bit by bit, right? It would be nice if we could just get knocked on our ass one time and then be totally transformed. But for now, in faith, let's take a step, a pause between a breath. 10 minutes before the sun rises, 10 minutes before bed, a few minutes of gratitude, pouring gratitude and acknowledging gratitude for what has occurred during your day or the people in your life or the things that have occurred, but also gratitude focused inwardly for all of those places that are summoning the courage to be known. Let us start there together and move both inward and outward.